Night falls over Villers-Bocage. The glow of burning tanks paints the faces of exhausted German soldiers. Colonel Hans von Luck leans against his command vehicle, the cool metal a stark contrast to the heat from the wrecks. His uniform is caked in dust and sweat, a testament to a day that became a nightmare. Around him, his men whisper, their earlier confidence gone. The air is thick with the smell of diesel and charred metal, punctuated by the random crack of a sniper's rifle. By flashlight, von Luck pores over a crumpled map. He marks the positions where his Panthers and Tigers fell. They weren't overwhelmed by numbers, but by a single, terrifying Wepaner-modified Sherman. Interrogations of captured British soldiers would later give it a name: the Firefly. "They've turned our mockery against us," he mutters to his adjutant, Captain Helmut von Leipzig, whose eyes nervously scan the shadows. The losses are staggering. Over a dozen panzers gutted, their crews gone in fiery explosions that lit up the night sky. Michael Whitman's famous rampage had claimed British tanks, sure, but the Fireflies had extracted a bloody price, forcing the elite SS Panzer Division to retreat with its tail between its legs. You can almost feel the dread settling in as von Luck issues orders for a new defensive line. The Bocage, the dense hedgerows that were once their ally, now feels like a cage. Every hedge could hide one of those long-barreled assassins, but across the lines in the Allied camps, the mood is electric. Sergeant Ken Tout, wiping grime from his Firefly's gun sight, shares a ration of tea with his crew. Their quiet laughter is a sound of relief and triumph. "Jerry thought we were pushovers," Tout says, reloading the 17-pounder gun with a satisfying clunk. "Now they're the ones brewing up." News of the Firefly's success spreads like wildfire, from the Canadian 3rd Infantry Division to the American 1st. Soldiers hear about this British marvel that's turning the tide. In his command caravan, General Bernard Montgomery Monty to his troops, the reports. A rare, thin smile cracks his stern face. The strategy was genius. Integrate the Fireflies into troops of standard Shermans. The regular Shermans would draw the enemy's fire, baiting the German tanks into revealing their positions. Then, from concealed spots, the Fireflies would strike. The effect was immediate and devastating. Production was ramped up back in Britain. Eventually, over 2,000 Fireflies would be sent to the front. Their Ordnance QF guns were fed a special diet, armor-piercing discarding sabot rounds, or a PDS. These shells could slice through 150 millimeters of sloped German armor from 1,000 yards away. Even the mighty Tiger and Panther were vulnerable. The days that followed blurred into a brutal war of attrition. The battles in the Bocage became a meat grinder. Von Luck's 21st Panzer Division, reinforced by the elite Panzerlehr, launched counterattacks near the city of Caen. Their Panther tanks prowled the countryside, but now with a newfound caution, the Fireflies were everywhere. They lurked in the ranks of the British. 11th Armoured Division during Operation Epsom. They ambushed the brand new Tiger I is the King Tigers of the 501st Heavy Panzer Battalion. These behemoths, the pride of the German army, shuddered as 17-pounder shells penetrated their thick turret armor and ignited their fuel tanks. In one such clash, Lieutenant Fritz Lang, one of von Luck's most trusted gunners, spotted a Firefly, but it was too late. The APD's round punched straight through their Panther's gun mantlet. Shrapnel ricocheted inside the hull in a deadly storm. Lang was killed instantly. The tank was immobilized, flames starting to lick at the hatches. When von Luck arrived on the scene, he just stared at the smoking wreck. The realization hit him like a physical blow. Germany's qualitative edge, their technological superiority, was eroding. It was being systematically dismantled by Allied quantity and, more importantly, Allied ingenuity. "We can't replace these losses," he radioed to his commanders, his voice steady but laced with desperation. The problems were mounting. Fuel shortages crippled their ability to maneuver. Spare parts were becoming impossible to find. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, American factories were churning out Sherman tanks faster than the Germans could destroy them. The definitive turning point came in late July with Operation Cobra, the massive American breakout from St. Lay, as waves of B-17 flying fortresses carpet-bombed the German lines into oblivion. The British Fireflies exploited the chaos. They surged forward, picking off the thinly spread German panzers. Von Luck's division, battered and broken, was forced into a full retreat. They could only watch as an endless flood of Allied armor poured through the gaps in their lines. Leading the charges, shattering the last of the Bocage defenses, were the Fireflies, the very tanks they had once mocked. The Falaise Pocket was closing. It was a cauldron where thousands of German troops were about to be encircled and annihilated. Their escape routes were constantly strafed by rocket firing. Typhoon fighter bombers and ambushed by those once underestimated Shermans. Von Luck himself barely evaded capture. Writing in his memoirs years later, he reflected on that fiery twist of fate. The Allies had turned German derision into German destruction. The Firefly had clawed back the initiative. By August 25th, Paris was liberated. The Eiffel Tower once again stood over streets filled with joyous crowds. But for the retreating German army, it was a symbol of their impending collapse. The road to Germany itself was now open, paved with the burning husks of their vaunted panzer. As Allied tanks rumbled toward the Seine River, von Luck harbored a final, desperate hope. Maybe reinforcements would arrive from the Eastern Front. Maybe Germany's new wonder weapons would be ready in time. Or was this the beginning of the end he had long foreseen? Was the industrial might of the West finally about to overwhelm the Reich's arrogance? The answer waited for him somewhere in the ruins that lay ahead.